It started on a Wednesday night, a night like any other. I came home late, dropped my bag by the door, and kicked off my shoes. I was halfway through microwaving leftovers when I heard it, a noise from the basement. At first, I thought it was nothing. Old houses make weird sounds, right? But then I heard it again, a faint shuffle like someone moving. I froze, my heart hammering in my chest. Grabbing a flashlight and the baseball bat I kept by the fridge, I crept toward the basement door. The light above the stairs flickered as I opened the door. I stood there for a long moment, listening. The sound was unmistakable now. Footsteps. Someone was down there. With the bat gripped tight, I made my way down, one shaky step at a time. The air grew colder with each step, a damp chill that made my skin crawl. My flashlight cut through the darkness, illuminating boxes, pipes, and old furniture. Then, in the far corner, the beam landed on her. She was crouched, trying to hide behind a stack of crates. For a moment, we just stared at each other. She wasn't like anything I'd ever seen, tall, with shimmering silvery blue skin that almost seemed to glow faintly. Her eyes, golden and sharp, reflected the light like a predator's. She wore a strange, form-fitting suit covered in intricate patterns that pulsed faintly with light. Who are you?" I stammered, my voice shaking. She flinched and held up her hands in what was clearly a sign of peace. "Please," she said, her voice soft but firm. "Do not be afraid. I will not hurt you." I blinked. She spoke English? What are you doing in my basement? I demanded, the bat trembling in my grip. "I am hiding," she said. "Someone is after me. I don't know why I didn't run." Maybe it was the way she looked at me. Not with malice, but desperation. I lowered the bat slightly. "Who's after you?" She hesitated, as if deciding how much to tell me. Finally, she said, "I am Lyra of the Clyery. I am being hunted by the Vork enforcers. They are ruthless. They will come here. Aliens?" I blurted, disbelieving. "You're saying aliens are after you? You're an alien?" "Yes," she said, and I didn't miss the exhaustion in her voice. "I crashed here 2 days ago. My ship was damaged, and I barely escaped. Your basement was the first place I could find to hide." My mind reeled. "And now you're hiding here because they will find me," she said. "And if they find me, they will find you." I stared at her, trying to process what she'd said. She wasn't just hiding. She was warning me. Lyra told me everything as I sat at the top of the stairs, staring at her like she'd come straight out of a sci-fi movie. Her people, the Clyery, were a peaceful race at war with a brutal empire called the Vork Dominion. The Vork had tracked her ship across the galaxy, hunting her like an animal. "What do they want with you?" I asked. Her golden eyes met mine. "I carry something they cannot allow to escape. Information. If they capture me, your world will not survive." It hit me then, this wasn't just her fight. If the Vork found her, Earth would become collateral damage. "Why tell me all this?" I asked. "Because you are kind," she said simply. "And you deserve to know the truth." I snorted. "I found you in my basement. That doesn't make me kind. It makes you braver than most." I couldn't just leave her down there. I brought her food and water, though she inspected everything carefully before eating. She worked on a small device she had salvaged from her wrecked ship, something she called a beacon. "I can signal my people to come for me," she explained, soldering alien components with tools I didn't even recognize. "But I need more time." Time. Of course. That was the one thing we didn't have. That night, I heard a sound I will never forget. A low hum that rattled my windows and shook the floorboards. I ran to the window and saw them. Dark, jagged ships hovering just above the treetops, their lights scanning the ground. "They are here," Lyra said from behind me, her voice calm but urgent. "They have found me." The Vork soldiers were like shadows, tall, armored figures that moved with a terrifying precision. Lyra's suit glowed faintly as she activated something on her wrist, forming a shield of crackling energy around her. "Stay back," she ordered. "I will face them." "Are you crazy?" I shouted. "You'll get killed." She glanced at me, a faint smile on her lips. "Then I will die fighting." She stepped into the yard, just as the Vork soldiers descended, weapons glowing red. I watched from the shadows, my heart pounding as Lyra moved like a force of nature. Her armor projected energy shields that absorbed blasts, and she fought back with a weapon that looked like a blade made of pure light. But there were so many of them. Lyra fell to one knee, breathing heavily, her light flickering. Without thinking, I grabbed the only thing I could find, a rusty garden hoe, and charged into the yard like an idiot. "Hey!" I yelled, swinging the hoe and somehow smashing it across the helmet of one of the soldiers. It wasn't much, but it distracted him long enough for Lyra to stand. "What are you doing?" she shouted. "Helping," I yelled back. Together, we fought them off, me swinging like a madman, and Lyra cutting through them with her glowing blade. The Vork fell back, retreating to their ships as Lyra raised her arm and activated her beacon. The sky erupted with light as her people arrived, sleek, silver ships that made the Vork vessels look like toys. The Vork didn't stand a chance. Within minutes, the battle was over. Lyra turned to me as the dust settled, her golden eyes soft. "You are reckless," she said. I laughed, breathless. "Yeah, well, you're welcome." She placed a small, glowing crystal in my hand. "This will ensure they cannot return, and it will mark you as a friend of the Clyery." I looked down at the crystal, its light pulsing faintly. "What happens now?" "My people will take me home," she said. "But your kindness will not be forgotten, human." With that, she stepped aboard one of the silver ships, and I watched as it disappeared into the sky, leaving only silence. For weeks, I kept the crystal on my nightstand, its glow a constant reminder that I wasn't alone in the universe. Sometimes, late at night, I'd look at the basement door and half expect to hear her voice again. She was gone, but I knew one thing for sure. If she ever needed me again, if the Vork returned, I'd be ready. Because once you fight aliens with a garden hoe, you realize you're capable of just about anything.